This is the review of the Columbia River Knife and Tool Homefront EDC version. So it has the plain blade, the Homefront EDC designed by Ken Onion. It's their field strip model, meaning that you can disassemble the knife with two easy switches on the knife. So the blade steel is the 1.4116 blade steel. More common, you'd probably seen it in like Swiss Army knives. I like this steel. It's not super hard. It won't hold an edge for very long, but it's relatively inexpensive. I mean, you can get this knife for around $50, and you can sharpen it very easily. I have it comes with a razor sharp edge on it. In fact, you can, slice through paper and shave with it out of the box, new from the factory. So it's a very sharp knife out of the box. I like 99% of the features on this knife. I'll get to the one thing I don't really care for of it at the end of the video. But yeah, overall I would recommend this knife. I'm highly satisfied with it, and you can't really go wrong with Columbia River Knife and Tool. I have a few of their knives. I like the price point where they're at. You can usually get them around $45, $55, and I know they have more expensive knives, but this was on Amazon for I think $55. That included, it was Prime, so free shipping. It does have a belt clip on it. It's receded into the handle of the knife, the nylon, the ballistic nylon, but there's just one screw holding it in there. It's receded into it so it won't slip or slide or anything, but I usually prefer at least two screws holding in the belt clip on knives. That's just a personal preference of mine. It's not a big deal. So the blade length is just over 3.5 inches. It's a very good sized knife. It's not too big. Some of my Columbia River pocket knives, they're just a little bit big and thick and heavy. I really like the overall length. I like the folded length, and I like the weight of this knife. Handle is glass reinforced nylon, which is okay. We'll get to that later. I mean, it's very durable. You can't really go wrong with it. A lot of pistol grips are made out of that nowadays. It's not technically my favorite, but it's durable and it works. Overall length is 8.25 inches. Like I said earlier, the blade length is just over 3.5 inches. I like the finish on the knife. It's a Stonewash, and yeah, I've always liked the Stonewash finish on knives. I don't know if you can pick that up in the video there, but it just looks really good. The lock on it is very durable and stable. The lock comes right to the center of the base of the blade. It doesn't sit off on one side or the edge. When it sets itself in there, it's right in the center there. I don't know if you can tell in the video there, but it's very solid. It does not move an inch. It barely moves side to side either. There is probably just a fraction of a millimeter of play side to side. There is absolutely none front to back. The lock holds the blade in place 99.9%. Like I said, there's just the slightest bit of wiggle side to side, and I haven't even tried playing with that. That might be, if I tighten that Allen wrench up a little bit, that little set screw there, it might tighten that up. But like I said, I'm being really, really picky about that, and I'm putting in a lot of force there, and there's just the littlest bit of play. And like I said, if I tighten that up, it might take it away, but it also might slow down the action of the knife. There's also no play in it. Like, you can't just flip the blade out without hitting the lever on it. But once you do hit the lever, it's very responsive and very quick. And it is a true one-hand operation, so opening and close one-handed operation. Get down to how you break the knife down for a field strip. It's very simple. Just under the star here, there's a lever. You push that to the right, and then you turn this down kind of into the body of the knife, and it comes right apart. It's very simple, just takes seconds to do, and you can get in and completely wash the knife. So your spring lock inside the knife is made out of the exact same steel. They didn't cheap and create it out of spring steel or any crap like that. And it's stonewashed as well. So the same finish on the inside of the knife, something, very, very close attention to detail by Columbia River. And I was pleasantly surprised by that and pleased. To put it back together, you slide it right back on and then put that pin through there and press it down, and then you'll just line up the big hole there and the little hole on top over those two pins. To do that, you'll line up the bottom screw there and then turn the wheel. If you have the clip underneath you, you will turn the wheel counterclockwise to tighten it and to close it from field strip. To loosen it, if you have the clip underneath, you will turn it back clockwise. But to tighten it back up, put it back together, go counterclockwise, it tightens up. So after you tighten this back up, you come back and you lock the knife there. There's no play in the knife, there's no rattle. It's just a really solid knife. Especially for 50 bucks, 55 bucks, it'd be hard to beat. What else about this knife? I liked it's got some ridges on the flip, so and I just like the little loop there too. It reminds me of a hammer of a 1911, kind of a small hammer, if you will. Got the hole in it, and yeah, throw in a little wrist action in it, and it's just blazing fast, the action on this knife. Again, you can't flip the knife open unless you hit the action on it. There's just no way to get the knife to flip open. When it's closed, it's closed. Unless you hit the trigger, there's no way to get the knife to open. So it's not spring assisted, and it's not an automatic knife, but the action is very smooth and very cool. That's about it for what I like about the knife. My one, like I said, I recommend this knife 99.9%. My one little hiccup about this knife that I'm not really a big fan of. Granted, I like the material, I like the glass reinforced nylon. I just don't like the texture on it. Given that it's still pretty smooth, there's not very much grip to it. It kind of has a tire tread look to the texture, but it's not very deep, if you will. There's not a whole lot of hold or grip on it. I mean, there's no way it's going to come out of your hand if you've got a firm grip on it, but it's almost smooth. Even where the texture's at, it's almost smooth. And I would have liked just a little bit more rigid or rough of a texture, just something more to grab onto, a little more grippy, if you will. But honestly, that is my one and only complaint about this knife. Other than that, I'd highly recommend it. And yeah, it's on Amazon right now for like $53, I think, in Amazon Prime. It's a good deal.